Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. We are back. I am back from my holiday. What a beautiful time I had. Nice, refreshed, sunshine. And I come back to the best game, to be fair. The weekend that we all look forward to and dread at the same time. That we all always say, it's like going to the dentist. You just want it over and done with and know that it's gone all right. So that's where we're at with this fixture. To talk about it, I've got myself, lead judges, Henry from Henry Wright and Henry Talks Football, and Deji from Deji Spurs. Lee, I've seen you everywhere, man. I mean, I've been trying to chill out this week away from everything, and everyone's getting you on all of their shows. You're on Talk Sport, you're on AFTV, you're on, well, everywhere, mate. Just Sport Bible. I see you in Turkish ranting and raving. Like, you need to relax after this weekend, bro.
Oh, no. The Sports Bible thing was done a little while ago, and very clever of them to bring it out on the North London derby, which was very clever of them. But, I've had a busy couple of days, helping out, Listen, sometimes it's always better to help out, than not so privileged. And that's what I've done over the last couple of days, and try to give them a little bit of a boost, give them a little bit of a boost. It must be difficult for like a team from South London comes over, takes over their patch, becomes better than them. I feel for them. So, I'm just willing to just give them a little bit of a helping hand.
Come on, man. Big up. Henry, how are you, mate? How are you feeling going into this weekend?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good to be back on. I kind of feel a bit, don't really know what to feel. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. It's the one fixture I think we all look for immediately. And I think in terms of any game in the Premier League, I think this one, even from a neutral fan, gives a lot more excitement. There's always big moments, red cards, fantastic passage of play. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Come on, man. Deji, new background, got your shirt on, repping Spurs. You told me last week that it's going to be hard for us. You're going to hurt us. Still confident, my bro?
Yeah, I mean, look, first and foremost, it's a pleasure to be amongst footballing royalty here on this show. I've got enough love for you, Dan, Henry, and Lee. I think the pleasantries on the panel is nothing compared to how I feel inside. I think on the weekend, we're going to rip you lot's heads off, and I'm looking forward to it. So I totally agree. I don't really want to talk about it no more. I just want to let the best team win, let the games get started. But look, it is the best game. It's the best derby in world football. There's no greater derby. I mean, people talk about Real Madrid and Barcelona and whatnot, but for me, Spurs-Arsenal is the biggest game. Everyone watches it. And I just hope that my club puts on an excellent performance. One thing I like, I thought, Judge, I've been watching your stuff as well. Thank you very much. You gave a really balanced view. You showed a lot of respect for my club, and for me, I respect that. And to you, Dan, I respect that, considering the fact that you won't have the ball much on Sunday, I respect that, in terms of ball possession. And also the fact that you find the game quite difficult. It was good to see that you understand that my team is going to give you a run for your money. So for me, with all the respects from both footballing sides, let the best team win.
Big up, man. Big up. Henry, let me come to you, man, because I think you and Dej are complete opposites when it comes to me talking about Tottenham and football. But, it is what it is. We need all opinions in football. How are you feeling in this one, man, with the injuries to Arsenal and the fact that you've pretty much, I believe, got all your players back?
I think if we've got a best chance we've had in a couple of years against beating you, especially with Odegaard's one thing. Obviously, his chance creation is going to be very, very important for Arsenal going forward. But Declan Rice, for me, is the biggest blow because he's that energy. He's a transition between defence and attack. And obviously, you've got no Calafiori as well. So I imagine Timber it'll be the same back four you've played in the last couple of games. We have got a couple of injuries. Like Basuma has been ruled out as well as Richarlison. I don't know how fit Solanke and Van der Ven are going to be, but they're going to start. But I'm actually siding with Deji a little bit. I am actually confident. And if you look at the 3 games we've played this season, we've been a better team in all 3 games. But it is a thing where we just haven't taken our chances. But now Solanke's back in the team. I don't think any ball will go into the box at height because I think he won't win a lot of the duels against your 2 centre halves. But low crosses, I think, is where we're going to get. If we are going to score, that's where we're going to get our our goals from. But with Jorginho and Partey, I don't know. I imagine there's been a lot of debate about who's going to play in the 10. Is it Havertz? Is it Trossard? I'd rather it would be Trossard because I think our energy and our midfield will be not necessarily a lot stronger, but there's a lot more energy in there. If Havertz is in there, we saw it last year at the Derby, one long ball over the top. Saka was on the end of it, and that's how you got a goal. I actually think first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, if the crowd are up for it and there's a big tackle, like Romero, exactly what to do. I'm not saying go and injure a player, but first 5 minutes, stick one on Partey or something, get the crowd going, lift the spirits, because I think you boys will be looking at the next 7 days as, I don't want to say it's make or break for your season because we're so early on, but it kind of is like that. If you somehow lost to us and City, you're 8 points behind that lot. And I don't see how they're going to slow down. They've got an absolute robot up front. And you've got a Champions League game midweek as well. So there's going to be rotation, which is why I don't necessarily think you're going to go full strength. I don't think you're going to go your absolute strongest front three.
I asked that question as well. So,
because you're going to have one eye on that Champions League game. And if you don't get a good result in Italy, Champions League can be extremely tough, as we know. But I am confident. I predicted 3-1, and I'm sticking with that.
Same.
Wow.
Same.
Wow. Well, we've already done predictions this early. Wow. Okay. This is confident talk from him, Lee. I've got to say, before I come to you, judges, do us a favor, people. Make sure you're following every single one of these people, man. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribes for Deji Spurs, who's putting out unreal content now daily. Make sure you go follow Henry Talks Football, likewise, doing exactly the same thing. Make sure if you're not subscribed to both myself and Lee, that you are. Lee Judges TV and Football's 12th Man. Big up, people. Listen, judges, I've had this a lot the whole week. I've had Tottenham fans come in for me saying you're in the mud. You've got no players now, and this is going to be an easy 3 points. So I suppose that's it then. We're going to lose the game and just get on to Atlanta and City then, I suppose, judges.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's true. Over this last couple of days, I've heard that, Victorio in the goal, is that his name, Victorio or Victorious?
Vicario, yeah.
Vicario, best goalkeeper, better than Raya. I've heard Poro's the best right back in the country. Ndoggy's the best left back in the country. The two central defenders are the best two. And here they are, week in, week out, conceding goals. You know what I mean? So I'm frightened. Yeah. They've got all this great defence. Someone has to tell them that and remind them that they do have to defend set pieces. That's part of defending, boys. Yeah. So when they go on about this great defence and these great players, Song all of a sudden now is 23 again and back in his prime. You know what I mean? Like Solanke, well, I thought he was Harry Kane at one stage. Right? I mean, all of a sudden he's better than Havertz. He's better than this.
I love this.
I see him play against Leicester and do very well. Leicester had a great season in the Premier League last season. Yeah, never lost a game. They didn't in the Premier League last year, Leicester. So that's a great performance.
Have you been happy with your performances, judges? Sorry.
No, I've not been happy with our performances this year. If I'll be really honest, I think Tottenham have been in better form. I know that sounds silly. Have been better in form than us. If I'll be brutally honest about it, Leicester, Everton, and Newcastle should have 9 points. Yeah. I think you've really against Newcastle. There was only one winner in that game, but Owange thought like he'd do suicide watch and like charge of the light brigade. This all go forward and get caught out with Isaacs, and I think it was, I can't think who it was now, who come on as a sub, didn't he? And
Murphy, wasn't it?
Murphy, and got behind the high line, So yeah, listen, all jokes aside, I think results could have gone better for Spurs. The performances have been there. I think but at the end of the day, that's what I say. You've got to defend. I think realistically, Everton's have given me that one. But
are you nervous?
Huh?
Are you nervous? Because I know you don't. You're not. an Arsenal fan normally that thinks, we're going to go and blow them away. Because
No.
days,
I'm always nervous about Spurs because there's a lot more than just 3 points, right? Even though it is 3 points. But what I am confident about, and this is the great thing, which is over like last season, I knew if Arsenal turned up, they'd win. A few years before that, even if Arsenal turned up, we weren't so sure because Tottenham were a better team. Yeah. But I go into this game, despite having the 2 injuries, 2 injury and suspension and whatever, that's part and parcel of football. You can't do nothing about that. We've still got a bloody good team. Still got
I don't know.
In place. Still got our forwards in place.
I don't know about that. Sorry, Lee. I've been trying to be polite on this show.
No. Feel free, like that. I mean,
but at some point, I was gonna have to let it rip. So I'm gonna have to let it rip now. To be honest with you, look, the truth of the matter is, you guys have been dusted in Tutankhamun in your first 3 games. Let's be real. You beat a Wolves team that doesn't eat meat. Aston Villa, Lee, I'm looking you right in the eye. You know you could have lost that game. Ollie Watkins takes
did we?
chances. No, just hold on a minute. And then you could have lost to Brighton as well. So the truth is, in your first 3 games, you were got at. What you have is the opposite to Spurs. You haven't played well, but you've managed to get the points. And it depends on what side of the pendulum, whether you see that as a positive or a negative. Whereas Spurs have played well, I ain't got the points. Now, I would say this. Being a footballing man and you're a footballing man, when you're not playing well and you're hiding the cracks, sooner than later, the cracks start to come out. You start to pull a hole in your trousers. And when we see that big, fat, dirty hole, that's when all hell breaks loose. And that's when teams start to expose you and teams start to score. And that's why I'm a bit more confident with Spurs. The other thing is that you guys had this super squad that lost 2 midfielders, and all of a sudden it's not as strong. I'm looking at your midfield. Jorginho is rubbish. He doesn't get into the Spurs team. Martinelli's rubbish. He doesn't get into the Spurs team. Solanke's better than Havertz. Shivered me timbers. You know what I mean? What can he do? And we've got Punch from the Punch and Judy show, which is Ben White. To be honest with you, you were there for the taking, even if Asgard and Muller Rice was on the pitch. That's the truth. You were going to be there for the taking, and I think even more so, we're going to take you out this weekend. That is the truth. I don't know how.
Did you say that last season? If I remember, Des, you said that last season.
Right.
3-0. I had my pipe and slippers out.
You're right, and you're right, Lee. And when we came to your gaff, we outplayed you at your gaff. It was a 2-2 draw. When you came to our gaff, you only won 3-2, and we were considerably weak compared to the team we're going to bring out this Sunday. I'm just saying.
So let me get to that then, because I don't even know the team news. I've been away in Turkey. I've been chilling. I've come back. Deji ain't changed one bit. You know what I'm saying?
I love it all.
I love him. He's one of my favourites. He knows he is. He's
a tough guy like that. Where he just
listen.
Yeah.
When it comes to this team news, we've got to discuss this, judges, because and I'll ask you, Henry, as well, because I don't know the Spurs full 11. What are we going to do, Judge? Because we ain't got Odegaard and we ain't got Rice. We know what the back line's going to be. We know Timber's going to come in left back, and the back line we know is going to be Saliba, Gabriel, White, and Raya. And then we've got to make a decision, ain't we? We've got a decision on the left of whether he's going to play Martinelli or Trossard. And then in the middle, we've got to work out who's going to replace Odegaard, and if Jorginho and Partey are going to play, or if we're playing Havertz in the 10 or Sterling in the 10. So
I think Havertz will play in the 10 for you, and I think he'll look at us that we can get beaten on the counter, and I think you'll see Sterling make his debut. I think you'll see Saka, Sterling, and Trossard as your front three of Havertz in the 10 with Jorginho and Partey in your midfield. If that's the team he goes with,
that's an option.
Then you're the way you're set up is come at us, and we'll get you on a counter. Because with Tottenham, we'll have all Deji's right, and we'll have all the ball. It's just when we get those chances, we have to take them. And I'm looking at James Maddison this game. You've got to deliver for me now. Like, it's a huge game. If you beat us for the third time in a row, you haven't done that on our patch since the 80s.
It's a disgrace.
4 decades have gone past. You've never done us 3 times in a row. But you are a bit of a. You're still very strong.
Who's your midfield then? Your team. I've got it.
Zuma's been ruled out of the game.
Hold on, Deji. I just want to just hold on. I'm not having that.
Go on, Judge.
Turned around and said it's a disgrace that we. What do you mean by it's a disgrace? We haven't won. You haven't won twice in it. You haven't won twice. You've only won twice in the whole of the Premier League. We got a chance to do that 3 times on the. You know what I mean?
I said if we allow you to do it, it would be a disgrace.
Oh, right. You're saying it's a disgrace from your point of view. Sorry, I get it. Sorry.
I wouldn't lie. Do you know what? That Deji has said mad things like that before, though. So I wouldn't put it past him to be doing it. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, like, real talk. 13 league titles twice, and they've done it twice, and we've done it twice at their ground. That's what made me laugh. So we won it twice. Yeah, we won it twice just at your ground.
The only thing I would say is, you know, and I think I've said this to you before, Dan and to Lee, is that I do find your club more Spursy than Spurs, and I think the fact that you guys play good football when you're positioning has been the only positive thing. But I look at your team and I think, why haven't you prepared yourself for moments like this? Why don't you have a number 9? Why don't you have proper wingers? I don't know where the confidence comes from. We know Trossard, it usually does well on the left-hand side, and you're going to probably play him in the number 10, maybe. Havertz needs to play number 9. If Havertz is dropped into the midfield, he's a disaster. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I see a lot of Arsenal fans shaking their bum violently, I'm like, what for? Shiver me timbers, we don't know what he can do. And Partey just hasn't quite been himself. So this confidence that Arsenal fans feel like, even without Asgard and without Muller-Rice, they can still do something. I just can't see it.
I'll tell you where I'll get my confidence from, and something you won't understand this. Right, you won't understand this. He's like, I'll get my confidence because we've been unbeaten since in 2024 away from home. You know what I mean? Like your away form is like is it 13 defeats in 15 or something like that? So you wouldn't know where that comes from. A bit of minerals, from that, like, you know what I mean. So I do think that we've got a bit of experience and everything there, like, you know. So and we're a good team away from home. Don't worry about that. Do you know why? And this is we had a poor record going back a few years ago, like, you know, why we couldn't win games. Remember, Dan, like, you know, the reason we win games of football now is because we're very, very good defensively.
Yeah,
and we are.
Yeah.
And to be a good away team and win games away from home, you've got to have a good defence. 13 away defeats out of 15 ain't good.
It's not, but it kind of hides the kind of the truth of it all. So obviously we're in a different phase to you. You're in season 5 or 6 of this series. We've just completed season 1 and season 2. What we have seen from Spurs, and why you guys should be a lot more nervous than you guys are portraying on this show, is that Spurs have reduced the chances. Last season, we were like, open up the floodgates of heaven. It was basketball, football. So far, Newcastle had only 4 shots on goal. Yeah, Leicester had 3. Everton didn't even have any. And the way we're going to do domination in the Lord Kershan, I'd be surprised if Arsenal get 5 chances on goals this weekend. And that's just the truth. And if you ain't got the ball...
We only had 3 last year.
What's that?
We only had 3 last season in one half.
No, but...
Bang, bang, bang.
What I'm trying to say is you did that in one half.
Bang, bang, bang. We don't need 5. We don't need 5. You give us...
We had Ben Davis on the pitch, and let's be real. Your burner boy, a.k.a. Saka, he struggled against Udogie at the Emirates. And guess what? Udogie is back. A lot of people talk about Van de Ven and Romero being the important players in Spurs' back line for this game. I think Udogie is. You stop Saka, you stop Arsenal. Everything goes through Saka.
I'll rate you, Doggy. I'll rate you, Doggy.
Yeah,
and I rate Saka. You stop Saka, you stop Arsenal. That is the strategy. I don't know why anyone hasn't clocked this. And I reckon that's the reason why I've got slightly more chest, because I saw Saka. And I don't know if you guys agree. The little that I saw of the Brighton game, Saka doesn't look like the person who wants physical challenges. He doesn't like the argy-bargy. And that's exactly what Udogie is going to bring to the game. Physicality and the argy-bargy. And I just don't think Saka wins that battle, unfortunately.
Would you say that he had the better of him at the Emirates then, yeah?
I thought so. I remember Udogie picked up a yellow card early on. But I didn't see Saka take him on for a 1v1. Not at all in that game. I don't remember him doing it.
2 assists that game.
Yeah, he got 2 assists. But in terms of take-ons and shots, I don't think he did much.
All right.
Look, let me, because I actually.
I love it. We're only one each other.
No,
it is
no,
like-
no.
it is quality,
I
but
actually agree with a lot of what Deji said about where we've left ourselves short in the window, but that's another story. For this game, Lee, what would you do with this Arsenal lineup? Because Henry said he reckons Havertz will drop into midfield.
Yeah, I get that, but I think
Trossard in the 10.
I think Havertz is, like Arsenal. Arsenal are a very, very good team when he's been up front, as it's proved since January. Since he's been up front, the one game he didn't play up front was Villa. Other than that, he's played up front. We haven't lost a game up there with him. Not bad for a crap player, but so I would. I think I would stick with him up there. That I would though. I'd go with the front three of Martinelli, Saka, and Havertz. Jorginho and Partey, even though listen, Partey on his day is still one of the best midfield players in the league in that role. I don't think he's been quite at his best this season so far, but he's getting more games under his belt. It is a gamble. Do you play Nwaneri or do you play Trossard? I think that would be where I would be going, Dan, if I'd be really honest. And do you know what? I'd like to see Nwaneri there. I really would, but because I think he's quality. But I think maybe play him in Italy when it's not such a bigger game.
You need Sterling, Lee. You might pick Sterling in the 10.
Listen, I think he could pick Sterling. You could actually bring Jesus into up front and put Havertz back down in the midfield. Like you can do that. But listen, I think 20 minutes to go. I didn't think we played that well against Tottenham last season, but 20 minutes left in the game last season. I see that Van der Ven was on his haunches. He was struggling because he has to go through a lot of running. With the way he plays, he does do that, So 20 minutes from the end, bringing on Sterling could be a thing from it. I do get what people are saying about Sterling and all that, but I don't think he justifies just walking into the team, guys. I don't. You know what I mean? I know that he's a good player and everything like that, but I don't think he just justifies. I think coming on as a sub could be a good thing for him. That's what I'd do. We've still got all our top guns up front. We've still got our back four. It's just that the midfield, there's talk about Basuma not being available, and so the Spurs are probably going to dominate in there. But I think maybe that's what we'll let them do anyway, and then try and get the ball over the top. Listen, Newcastle were under the pump against Tottenham. They really were on that stage, and what's his name come on? The little Italian come on, who's been on the game.
Tonali,
and they just started threading those balls through, and Spurs were vulnerable to that. I don't care what anybody says. I think Spurs are a good side, as they've shown, but they're vulnerable to that high line and that way. You know what I mean? Even against Leicester, come on, guys, you've been 5-0 up in the end of it. If it weren't for your goalkeeper, you could be losing 2-1.
Can I just ask the question? Do you think Spurs is vulnerable to the high line, or was it lapses in concentration? Because the argument I've been putting out is that if we had Saliba instead of Romero, I think Spurs have 9 points. Because I think the goal against Leicester is Romero switching off. The goal.
You finally admitting Saliba's better than Romero, Deji?
Yeah, no, I admitted it after the Newcastle game. I came out and said, "Look, I put my hands up, mate. Please, Saliba."
He's the second best centre back in the league.
I appreciate that.
The difference with Saliba.
You still think Van Dijk is, Henry?
The thing that I think Van Dijk has the edge is when you're captaining a team of kids against Chelsea, and you are the only player on the field out other than the goalkeeper over the age of 30. You've got I don't know if Saliba goes into that Liverpool team with that exact team in that final and has that lift of the players around him. If you're talking technical quality, Saliba has got a lot of bows to be strings to his bow. Is that the right saying? But in terms of aura, in terms of leadership, in terms of I think Arsenal's
Van Dijk will always have that over
him.
He will. Van Dijk will always have that over him because of I just think it's an age thing now. I don't think in terms of the quality it's much of a difference at all. I really don't.
You got to think Saliba's got his best years ahead of him. Van Dijk's on a decline now.
Someone just said in that pre-injury that Van Dijk was
mustard.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Not like it was when you had Tony Adams and JT, where you could actually leave a bit on the player. Now every sacker's got to be timed,
perfect and all that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you
And
got
that's what Saliba. That's what Saliba brings to that Arsenal team. I've watched him now for a good couple of months. He doesn't switch off in terms of concentration, and he always gets that tackle in. And that's the difference between him and Romero. Romero switches off. He's a great defender, but bloody switches off. And I just wish if he concentrates on the weekend, it will be very, very difficult for Kai Havertz. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? But if Romero switches off, which is what we've seen a couple of times this season, then it can be a disaster. And so that's my worry. And so I don't think it's the high line that's been punishing Spurs, because we've been dominating and we've looked comfortable in those games. But what the high line does do is if you do switch off,
there's no comeback.
Let me ask you boys, because I think the midfield is key in this game for me. Like, if we had Rice, Partey, Odegaard, I'd be like, right, we've got a great chance to win the midfield battle. Because we ain't got that, I'm now worrying what we're going to do. But I don't know what Tottenham's got in midfield, Henry. What's your midfield?
If you had Rice, Partey, and Odegaard, you have control of the match when you're in possession. Without those boys, that Tottenham will be confident. I think a midfield will go. Bentancur is about to get an 8-match ban after the Coventry game.
Yeah.
So he's getting that ban. So I think this will be his last Premier League. He will play, and I think it will be Bentancur, Sarr, and Maddison. I don't think Archie Gray will be in there. I don't think Bergvall will be in there. And Bissouma.
It's Kulu. Kulu played at 8. I think we saw enough in the Newcastle game.
You should play Kulusevski in the middle and forget about him being a winger, man. He ain't a winger.
No, he's not going to play on the wing. That we know. But I think Kulu plays the 8.
If he plays in the 8, then...
So who's playing the 6 then? Sarr?
It'll be Bentancur.
Bentancur.
Deji's right. It may be a lone 6. Because we don't really play over 10 now. It's 2 8s. If you look at our team in possession, at times our fullbacks are higher than Maddison. Like, Maddison has to come deep to get the ball, and then we kind of play with in possession. We've got like Porro and Udogie. It almost gets a little bit congested. This is why I'm looking at Maddison now, going, you've got to get the ball. Like when Odegaard gets on the ball, immediately there's runners. You see little inside runs from Saka, outside runs from Martinelli. Havertz will come close. When Maddison gets the ball, at times it's a little bit stagnated, and I want to see just get a shot off early. Like,
is Bissouma injured?
Yeah, he's been ruled out of the game.
Right.
Who is injured?
Bissouma and Richarlison have been ruled out of the game. And I don't know if Bentancur... I mean, I think he will play, but he's going to be getting between a 6 to 12 game ban for, obviously, the comments he made about Son.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't even know about that. When was this?
He made a racist remark on international duty with Uruguay, and then...
What, this one just gone?
No, this is the one before.
One. Yeah, the one before.
And he basically said something about Son, and then Son Bentancur come out of an apology about 3 days afterwards, and then the club kind of squished it. For PR side of things, they put a chat over them, making up and all that. And then the Premier League have since investigated it, and now they have said that he could be out between. If he gets a 12-game ban, he won't be back until December.
12-game ban.
Was it Premier League ban?
Don't tell me what it was, but it was that bad. What he said. That always seemed to be on South America.
It was poor. It was poor.
And that's a 12-game Premier League ban. That's not all comps. If it was all comps, it wouldn't be so bad, because you think we could get out of him, use him in the Europa League.
Do you know what I think, Henry? I think the Premier League have done that because Spurs didn't deal with it. If Spurs had dealt with it properly, I actually think...
What, and gave him a fine of his wages or something?
Yeah, they just didn't do nothing. Do you know what I mean? They actually did nothing. They just
look at this edge. Enzo Fernandez is singing a racist song about France. He's been given
nothing's happening there.
Yeah, he's been given the armband.
So obviously, so was it? You can't do one without the other.
That's bad.
It's just like that red card for Arsenal all over again. You can't give João Pedro a yellow card and then give Declan Rice one.
No, it's consistency. Argentinian players seem to have got away with that,
Mate, that Chelsea thing is mad. Like, Enzo, right? Yeah, he's sorry. Right, let's give him the armband. What's going on there? That is a shambles, mate. That's that club all over at the moment. Though, let's be real.
Dan, can I ask you boys a question?
Go on, bro.
Obviously, Arteta's got the new deal. The majority of the fan base are happy with it. If he loses to Spurs, if we get a win over you, and you then lose to City, do you think you're out of the title race? And do you think, because how much blame you could? Obviously, the injuries are part of the game, like Judge said earlier. But if you don't get the right result against us, that City game almost becomes like 3 points is the minimum. Because I think that the amount of pressure you'd be under this week is I said at the beginning of the stream, it's not make or break, but it is at the same time.
Listen, we got to win both games, in my opinion. That's why the Atlanta one, I don't think we have got our eyes on that Champions League game. That's the one we played the result because we got 7 games after that. We lose 3-0. It doesn't matter. Like, just take the loss or hit on that one. I don't care, if I'm honest with you. I want to win every game, but these two are too important to be mucking around with a Champions League game. So for me, we have to be going seriously with these two big time. And I want 6 points. I'll take 4. If I'm honest, Lee might not agree with this. If we are getting 4 points, I'd rather draw this one and win at the Etihad because mentally, that is so much bigger.
The momentum you'll get.
I respect that. I respect that, Dan. I respect that.
You know, is what it is. But I don't know. I want to win. I want to win both. Of course I do. But I would take 4 points minimum. I don't want to be losing to either of these sides, man. You can't this early on.
I would take that. I'll take that. Like a draw Tottenham and beat City. That would be a good thing. Like it. But on the other hand, I'd still. If you said to me now, beat Spurs and draw to City, I'm biting your hand off for it.
Of course.
Which game would you rather lose?
Huh?
If you could, if I said to you, you're going to lose one of the two, which one would you rather lose? The momentum you get from beating City.
Yeah, I have to say, beating. I never want to lose to Tottenham, but beating Man City is massive.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what. If you said to me now, Henry, look, we'll lose to you home and away, and we win the league, I'm taking it.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask. So there's no chance of Arsenal, maybe putting out a weaker team just because you've got Atalanta on. In the week, and then you've got Man City. Because one thing we know is you won't be able to cope with all three games.
No, that's
one of them's got to give.
Yeah, one of them are given. The Italy game, you can afford to lose that and still qualify. I think we can't afford to lose at Tottenham or City. If I'll be really honest, I think we've got to go and get the results in both. A draw in both would be a disaster, but it ain't ideal. We've got to go. Listen, I think if we're going to win the league, we've got to go to beat. Because I tell you what, City will beat you there.
People are not going to appreciate what I'm going to say right now. But the thing is, we know that Man City don't normally start off strong. There is no guarantee that even if you get slapped by Spurs and Man City, which I think is very plausible, that you guys would be out of the Prem. I still think Arsenal can go on a run. You showed it last season. And, anything can happen to City. They could lose Rodri. They could lose a couple of players. They could lose Haaland. And then, because all of a sudden, we talk as if there's no injuries and these things don't happen. 2 weeks ago, Arsenal would have been shaking their bum for this weekend's game. Now they're cacking themselves because you've lost 2 players. That could equally happen to Man City. Granted, their squad is a stronger squad, but they weren't great last year. They had De
Bruyne and Haaland out for quite a long part of the season. Any Arsenal fans, I'm not panicking because Odegaard and Rice are out. I'm not panicking. Yeah. Like, bring it on. Like, it's up to Arteta and Arsenal now to prove someone's got to step up. I don't know who it'll be, but it could be Nwaneri stepping up. It could be Jorginho. People laugh about Jorginho, but he played in our best performances of last season, beating Man City, beating Liverpool at home. Newcastle away the year before. Do you remember that, Dan? He was outstanding in that game. I'm not worried about who we bring in. What I'm worried about is I don't think it's sustainable over a long period of time. 1 or 2 games, I think Jorginho can come in and do a job. So listen, I think this is Arteta's just signed a contract where he's the second highest paid manager in the league now. He's got to go to places like Tottenham and go, right, come on.
Facts.
You can't always have the best, the best team out every week. You can't do that. If we did, we'd, I think it makes it a bit more of a tastier game, in my opinion. If Rice and Odegaard were there, listen, Tottenham could always turn up and beat us on the day. It's football. But if them two were playing on Sunday, I'd be going there, you know, like very, very confident, like I did last year. I did think we was going to win last year. I didn't think we'd be 3-0 up at half time. But, you know, when it come to 3-2 at the end, that was probably about right. But I thought we was... But this game now is a game where Tottenham have got to have their tails up because, you know... being at home and those players being out, they're probably slight favourites, I would say. But this is where you've got to earn your money. This is what it's all about. You know, City went to Chelsea, by the way, and left out their best 4 players. Now, I don't think Arsenal could do that, and a lot of teams couldn't do, and still got the result. So I think that was a statement win, and that's what Arsenal got to do. You know what I mean? Like, go out there now and go, wow, hold on a minute. They've got no Rice, no Odegaard, and they've gone to Tottenham, their fiercest rivals and a very good team, and turned them over. And that's what we've got to do.
Facts.
That is what we've got to do.
I think that's what we need to look at now. People talk about the title. Like, I'm not even looking at that yet. I don't think we win the title anyway. I said that right at the start of the season. I stand by it. I'm looking at this game now, and this game only for now. Worry about Atlanta after. Worry about City after. Let's actually look at this. This is a massive game. Let me, to close, because I know Dej ain't got long. Deji, give me your 1 to 11 and your Spurs prediction, bro. Your score prediction.
Yeah. My 1 to 11's got to be Vicario, Betty Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero, Porro. I think they play the system well. We just need them to concentrate. I would go with a midfielder of Bentancur, Kulusevski, Madders. I would have Odegaard on the right. I would have Son on the left. And we'll have our star boy, Solanke, up top. We have that. We put out that team. I can only see domination in the Lord Kirsten. And I think we give you guys a good old proper beating. I think Arsenal take their first L this weekend and you lose 3-1.
Okay, look, before I go Henry and leave with the same question, how many Arsenal players are you taking in this 11, Deji, in your Spurs team?
In my Spurs team, I'm taking Saliba. I'm taking injured? Do we include the injured players?
Yeah, like when everyone's fit. Now, when everyone's fit.
Deji's only. We're not both answering that question, are we? It's just Deji, yeah.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, I'll let you after Henry if you really want.
I'm taking 4 or 5.
Who are
I'm taking Saliba for sure. I'm taking Saka for sure. We could do Saka. We could do Saliba. I'd rather Van de Ven over Gabriel. I'd rather Udogie over Shivimi Timbers. I'd rather Porro over Punch. I'd rather Vicario over Rea. I would take Partey. I would take... I would keep Maddison over Asgard. I'll have Son. So, yeah, I think I'll take Saka, Partey, Saliba.
No Rea or Ben White?
No. Porro gives more going forward. Porro will give you more GA, and I think Porro's not been at fault for any of the goals we've conceded. I think it's overstated.
How have I not won? Where have I not won the league? This Spurs team. It's unbelievable.
We're cooking.
What's gone wrong with Spurs?
We're in a process. We're in a process. We're cooking. That's what we're doing. We're cooking nicely. You remember in season 2 of your series.
Listen, next time you start cooking, Benji, make sure you get some gas because you need it.
I can't believe this. I'll tell you what, this Tottenham team, it better go in for a title race this season. If only 4 Arsenal players get in it, I want to be seeing it. Otherwise, Ange, you've got to go, mate.
Yeah, obviously have Rice. But, Dan, we did it on the show earlier a couple of weeks ago. I've got Tottenham to be in the top 3.
You have? Yeah.
So this isn't.
And I guess if they come outside of the top 4, you want Ange gone, I guess.
I mean, I'll be kicking up a fuss.
I'd be a failure if you've done. If you've been a failure,
but
these players.
I'll be honest with you, Lee. The only thing keeping Ange in the possibility, long term is because we do this thing at Spurs where if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. And the reason why I do that, is because you guys have the real possibility of having your gaffer in charge for 8 seasons, and in that time you've only got an FA Cup. That is what Arsenal face right now in extending that contract, an FA Cup in 8 years. For me, Postecoglou does more in less time. I think in 5 years we win a major trophy under this gaffer. I'm pretty sure of it.
Well, listen, we're going to find out. You think 3-1. Deji, I know you got to shoot, my bro, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. And,
Deji,
yeah, man.
absolute legend.
Thank you, guys. Legends, thank
All right.
you.
Take care,
Love, man. In a
Cheers,
bit,
bye.
Dej. In a bit.
What a guy. What
You
a
got to
guy.
love Deji,
What
man.
a
You got to
love
love
it.
it. You got to
I'll
love
tell
it.
you what, like, you know, I mean, I want to go football and I want to go over the Arsenal and eat what he drinks because, like, you know, I'd see a different game. I'd be so much happier watching the
He's
Arsenal.
incredible, man. I can't believe it.
What was the
Come on,
question?
I was like, wow.
How many Arsenal?
Sorry, yeah, go on, Henry. Let's ask you that. Might as well see the guys. You're so different to Dej. Go on, man. Talk to me. What are you saying, bro?
If biased aside, I'm taking Raya. I think he's the second.
You
best
wouldn't a
goalkeeper.
year ago, though, would you? It's only like I think like
If we had a different manager
I've
that
been
was more
very
defensive and more not so tactically go forward, then I think there'd be a stronger argument for Vicario. But what Raya has done this season alone, the performance against Aston Villa is just an absolute joke. The two saves against.
I'll be real. I thought Vicario was very good last season until
it's not like he's.
It's coming for
clear by
crosses, Henry.
miles.
It's coming for crosses, Henry. He ain't great, man. He ain't
No,
great.
and what doesn't help is when most people attack us, we've only got two centre backs. I don't know why Total Spurs is saying stand that side of the table, but yeah, back four, left back. I personally would go Udogie because I think Timber's only played 3 games.
Yeah. I would agree.
Maybe in a few months' time, that'd be a different argument. My centre back pairing personally would be Van der Ven and Saliba, and I'd go Ben White at right back. Porro is very good going forward, but as a collective right back, Ben White's very good defensively. DM, Party, 8. Oh, I mean, Bentancur's barely played. Who's your 8? Jorginho. I probably would take Kula over Jorginho. And number 10, what are my options? Trossard, Havertz, or Maddison?
I think Madison would get in. Come on.
I mean, he hasn't been greatly.
Yeah, but
I'll take Maddison. Left wing for me has got to be Son. Like the guys, even at 32 last year, still got 27 goal contributions in the league. Right, Saka, and if we're going off of all of last season, I've got to take Solanke. You can't get 19 league goals, but I said it's on the football terrace. As a goal scorer, you're taking Solanke. If you're talking about an all-round package, Havertz has got more to his game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it depends what you want.
If you've got someone that you just need to finish your chance, you're taking Solanke.
I'd actually put Trossard, man. I think Trossard is ridiculous. Like the only two, I'll tell you this: the only two in it when everyone's fit, the only 2 players that absolutely get in from Spurs, in my opinion, are Son and Udogie on the left-hand side.
Is that a full strength team?
Yeah, when everyone's fit, that is. Like I think for me, they're the only 2 that I think are 100%. Maybe James Maddison, because obviously
we take Gabriel over Van der Ven.
I'd take Gabriel and Saliba as the 2 best. Yeah, I like Van der Ven.
Saliba, yeah, he's in there. He's like cement. He's in there. But I think as the partnership you get with Van der Ven, knowing the fact that recovery pace is in there and how good Saliba is, I don't know why I've got this feeling. I think Gabriel will be moved on in the next couple of seasons. And I think Calafiori will come in at left side centre back.
That could be the case in a couple of years, but I think I like Van der Ven a lot. I actually think he's so much better than Romero. It's crazy, but a lot of people have this fetish for Romero. I think when Gabriel is at his best, I think he's better than both Romero and Van der Ven. He's an absolute monster, mate. Absolute monster. And Saliba is, I mean, let's be real, Saliba's unreal, but Gabriel was better than him last year. Gabriel was a better defender than Saliba was, and people say Saliba is walking in. So for me, that's it. I don't know why people love Porro. Look, going forward, he's very good, but he can't defend this guy at all, and he's supposed to be a right back, and people give strength for that.
He's not a right back. He's a winger. If you look at his cross or his weight of pass or how clean he can strike a ball, yeah, I think right now if you put him right wing against Arsenal, he causes problems. Because he doesn't need to go on the byline all the way down and put Timber right on the edge of the box. You can whip it in from deep, and we've got players in there that can be a threat. But as an overall right back, The only right back at present I would take over Ben White is Trent. And that's because he's got that X factor. If you need a 75-yard diagonal pass,
He's generational, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
like right now, I'd have. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd probably take Ben White over Kyle Walker.
100%. 100%.
No, but I think Kyle Walker gets
over the years. Kyle Walker absolutely destroys Ben White, right? But for now, I'd take him Ben White over him right now. I thought Kyle Walker was poor last year, and I thought he had a poor tournament. I couldn't believe he got Team of the Year or whatever it was.
Trent is just
Trent is generational, mate. But I think this is the thing, right? There's Porro's better than White, Gabriel. He ain't as good as Romero. Van der Ven's better than Saliba. Udogie's a better. Then why the hell are Tottenham conceding the amount of goals they're conceding? Then it's mad.
Let's look at it this way. The way I always explain this argument. If you look at Van der Ven, Porro, Udogie, and Romero, most teams in the Premier League would take that as their back line. Individually, they're all good defenders. You put them in the system we play, we don't have a defence. Our fullbacks are in the final third. Our fullbacks are in midfield. If we had an Arteta system or a who's Newcastle's coach,
Eddie
Howe system, or Guardiola or Arteta or Klopp, we would actually concede about 35 to 40 goals, but we concede 60 plus because we don't like defending. Our manager said the other day in a press conference, if I had my way, I'd play with 10 strikers and a goalkeeper. What does that tell you about? Oh yeah, we're just gonna imagine rocking up with 10 Solankis. Like, I thought Ozzy Ardiles was nuts, and I wasn't alive. My uncle told me we were literally going into games, beating teams 4-3, 3-2, 5-4. Right? We're now even worse. Like, we've kept 4 clean sheets in 35 games. 4 in 35 games. That's nearly a whole season. Like, we don't like defending. We just like scoring goals.
Yeah, that's the way he plays. That's the way he plays. I get that. You know what I mean? Like, but when you play against the big games, the big teams, you're going to get found out, Henry. That's the trouble with that. Like, you know,
Agree.
I like the philosophy when you're playing against the lesser teams, but the better teams will pick you off, and that's what's happened over the. You know, even you would turn around and go. I know, like people go, oh yeah, Newcastle. They dominate Newcastle. Maybe Newcastle allowed that, and then go, look, you know, let them. We have that played into their hands a little bit, like, you know. I don't know. So it's something that he's got to. Something I think that he, in the long term, he's got to address. He has got to address that. But you know, I think with Tottenham over the last year, they needed this sort of type of manager, this type of football to get the fans back on side and everything like that, like, you know. So. I do agree with what you're saying there. Individually, they're probably good defenders.
Look at it this way. How many right backs in the league are better than Porro, and how many left backs are better in the league than Udogie?
Not many.
I think Udogie, not many is better than Udogie at left back.
Maybe Robertson at Liverpool and maybe Vardial, and that's it.
I would say, yeah, I think Udogie last season was the best left back by some way.
Nah, I'm not.
Euro winner, like Henry.
I know, but Romero's won a World Cup and 2 Copa
America. I know that's what you get. Like, I get that. No,
but there ain't many fullback pairings in what we've got. If you look at centre back pairings, only City, Liverpool's, and Arsenal's is a better pairing than Romero and Van der Ven.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is people think that I'm slating these defenders that Tottenham have got. I'm not. I actually think it's probably the best 4 you've had in a very long time. I think, you know, go back to Poch's era, it's up there with that, right? But I don't understand why people or Spurs fans seem to think that they're like the best in Europe when they're conceding the amount of goals. And I totally respect that maybe you don't have a Declan Rice and the manager sets you up in a way that gives you a high line. But that's clearly the problem then. So he's got to be under more pressure, Ange Postecoglou, in my opinion. Like, for me, you've got to start shifting. This Tottenham side is actually a very good first 11, mate. Very good. So you've got to, you know, go on.
So we got, obviously, you boys. We then got... I think this Arsenal game's make or break for our September, October. Because we beat you, the confidence we'll have for the rest of the month would be fantastic. We got you boys, Coventry away, which they're relatively good in domestic competitions. They made the FA Cup semi-final last year. If we get a hammer into you boys, I bet you every penny you've got, we will lose to Coventry if we get a thump into you boys. We then start our Europa League campaign after Brentford at home. Brentford at the moment isn't an easy game. Braimo's firing on all cylinders. And then we got Man United away. If we win this Arsenal game, we'd have a great run throughout this month in October. Guarantee that. We'd get some form. If we lose, you're thinking back-to-back defeats. We haven't beaten a top 10 team since March. We've only beaten 2 top 10 teams since December. And we've lost 13 of our last 15 away games. Or something stupid like that. The stats aren't in Angie's favour. Like, they're not. And the worst thing is, biased aside,
like, Henry, let's be honest. I know we're mucking about with Dingy and all that. Like, Tottenham have been poor. Back in the last season and this season,
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's been poor.
Yeah.
Someone said to me today that if Tottenham lose on Sunday, that's the record that sacked the manager.
Losing on Sunday is our worst start since 2011.
Bloody hell.
Like, there's not a lot of things. Like, I'll just read you something quickly. Someone sent this to me yesterday. It only take me literally 30 seconds. It was, under Ange Postecoglou, no manager in the Premier League other than Enzo Maresca has spent more money. We've done 431 million euros. In the last 5 games, our league position would be 13th. Our last 10 games, our league position would be 12th. Our last 30 games, our league position would be 9th. Romero and Van der Ven is meant to be a quality pairing, yet we've conceded 20 goals in our last 10 games together. Since December 10th, we've beaten 1 top 10 side, and as I just said, that was Villa. And we've won 4 out of our last 15 games, and those were against Everton, Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United. We've got 4 clean sheets in 33 games and a win percentage of 37%.
So hang on a minute. We've spent 700 million in 5 years. And you're saying how much has Ange Postecoglou spent
in the time that Ange Postecoglou has been Tottenham manager, we've spent £431 million.
Bloody
in that
hell.
time, Liverpool have done 172, Arsenal have done 311, including £100 million of that was on one player. United have done 370, and City, who did £80 million on one player in Vardy, have done 284. Now, those numbers, like, to give you some context,
that's shocking.
We spent 60 million. The football club, since Andrew's been there, have done 120 million pounds on Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke. In that time, you've done 100 million pound and got Declan Rice. And I don't know anyone who brings up Declan Rice's price tag anymore. No one mentions it today.
That's incredible. I didn't know Tottenham had spent that much. Did you, Lee?
We've done 140. We've done more than any team in the league other than Chelsea, Villa, and West Ham this window. We've done 140 million pounds. We did Archie Gray for 40 million, Dominic Solanke for 60, and Odegaard for 28. 130 million.
Bro, that's mad. Big up Premsy, by the way. Make sure you go subscribe to Premsy TV. Come on, big up yourself, bro. That's incredible. That's incredible. I can't believe it's that much. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't think it was that much. And people were going at Arteta for spending 700 in 5 years. Postecoglou spent 430 in 18 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, but because the thing that gives people, like, I want Ange Postecoglou to succeed, but
yeah, cool.
We got 100 million quid back of that from Harry Kane. So the numbers in terms of net spend don't look that bad.
Wow. That's incredible. Lee smashing up the place. You can't believe it. Look, I mean, it's unbelievable. Give me your team and your score prediction, Henry.
I've stuck on my score prediction all week. I'm going to go 3-1. I've just got a feeling we're going to get a good result. If we don't, pressure's going to mount on Ange. So it is going to be our worst start to the season if we don't win. Only winning one of our first 4 games. So we have to win. My 11 would be based on the team that I think you're going to play. Obviously, Vicario, the back 4 picks itself. Van der Ven and Porro at full back. And then obviously Van der Ven and Romero. I would go Bentancur, Sarr and Maddison. But I think he will play Kulu in the 8. Right wing, it cannot categorically be Brennan Johnson because Timber will just eat him up. It's got to be someone that can get at him. And I would probably play Odegaard there. Because I don't think you'll do what Newcastle did. The reason why Newcastle suffocated us is every time we got out wide, they doubled up. You won't do that because Timber will fancy himself and Ben White will fancy himself. Son on the left and Solanke. If Solanke's not available due to fitness reasons and he's on the bench, I want to see Kulu in the 9 and Son's got to stay on the left because he'll pull Ben White as wide as he can get him. So there'll be space on that inside. But your team, the annoying part is you haven't got to be at your best now. You just need to take your chances. And you've got clinical players like Bukayo Saka. We've only really got 1 or 2 clinical players in Son and Solanke. Trossard gets half a chance. It's a goal. So, but I am going 3-1 with all that being said.
Mate, I love the optimism from yourself, man. I'll let Lee have the last say, so I'll go next. I think Arsenal win 2-1. I still think we've got enough. I think up top we've got enough, and I think we will be clinical. And people haven't mentioned this enough. Set pieces, man. That is something Tottenham can't seem to hack, and something that Arsenal seem to be very, very good at. Going into last season, I was confident, but I never thought we'd be 3-0 up at half time with set pieces and that easy. So I'm going to be optimistic about that. My 11, I mean, for me, it pretty much is only one position, I think. What I would do is this. I'd have Raya, I'd have White, I'd have Saliba, Gabriel, Timber. In midfield, I would go with Jorginho and Partey in a double pivot. I'd have Saka and I'd have Martinelli and I'd have Havertz. And then for me, it's a flip of a coin between what you do in the 10 with Trossard or Sterling for me, because I just don't know that even Nwaneri, that's a hell of a risk, man. Hell of a risk. So it's that really is the only option, I think. I don't want to have a
baptism of fire for him. Do you not think if he doesn't perform, the fans will get on his back? Or do you think there'll be patience? Then again, if he performs, it's like you got a cult hero all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he plays Sterling in that 10, which City and Chelsea fans are laughing about because he can't play there apparently, and he scores, everyone will say it's what a signing, it's incredible. If he has a stinker there, it's like, what the hell was the manager doing? So he can't really win, really. It's very, very hard for Sterling. But listen, I don't know. I'm going to go 2-1, and with that team, question mark over the number 10 position. Don't particularly want Havertz dropping in the midfield because it just don't work. So what are you saying, Lee?
Yeah, I'm going with the normal back four. I'm gonna stick with Timber at left back. So the normal back four. I'm going to go Partey, Jorginho, and I'm going to take the risk and say, beginning of the week I was saying Nwaneri, but I think like I'm going to go for experience and put Trossard in there. Havertz, Martinelli, and Saka up top. Jesus and Sterling coming on the last 20 minutes to cause, with a tiring defence just to see us through. 6-0. No, 2-0. I think that we'll be. Listen,
you better be there on Monday, Lee. If you face a defeat, you better be there.
I'll be there Monday, like, you know what I mean. So, listen, if we win, listen, we can go there. We don't know what can happen. Like, that's the greatest thing about a North London derby. You just don't know what's going to happen. So we'll wait and see, and see what happens. Like, you know what I mean. So.
Yeah,
just quickly, is Odegaard actually out of the dark? Like Odegaard said, he's not ruled out.
Yeah, there's no way Henry. There's no way he's playing. I don't think he'd be playing. Do you know what? I don't even think it's psychologically for this game. I think it may even be psychologically for Man City. Like, saying, "Oh, he could be back for this game," thinking that he might be back for Man City. I think like it's all.
They say he was out for 7 games. Like, you got tough. Haven't you got PSG and?
No, we ain't got PSG. We've got Inter in that. No, we've got Atalanta.
Yeah, I think you have got PSG.
Yeah, PSG. If it is, yeah, because we got like
that long term, yeah,
international break, yeah. So, yeah, about 7 games. I can't see him being back for about 3 or 4. Like, there's only 3 weeks.
I reckon
back on international break.
I reckon he'll be out till. I think it's gonna be a lot worse than you think, and I reckon that's why.
Yeah.
I know Romano said earlier that there's more tests. I reckon he could be out for 7-8 weeks here.
Yeah,
maybe
longer. I do. I think he'll be out to the next.
Yeah, I don't expect to see Marino or Odegaard till in the middle of October. If I'm honest, at least
international break off.
Yeah, can you get through those 7 games without Odegaard? Can you beat PSG and City?
Gonna have to, Henry. I mean, they've decided to get rid of Smith Rowe and Vieira and not replace them. So Nwaneri's got to be the bollocks now, isn't he? Otherwise,
someone's got to come in and do the business. I totally agree. Someone's got to step up.
That's the way it is, as far as I'm concerned. So, anyway, listen. There are predictions. Big up to Deji earlier for coming on. Make sure you show some love over at Deji Spurs. Big up to judges as well as ever. Henry, what is happening over on your channel now? Because stay tuned, people. You're about to be redirected.
So it's not for about an hour or so. I'm doing a preview with Babs, the first stream on Henry Talks Football. To kind of see, I mean, it's going to try to do a combined 11 with him. It's going to be probably a little bit more difficult with you two because obviously, I think the only Spurs player that might get in with him will be Son, but that'll be interesting. So yeah, appreciate that, Potts.
Love, man. No, we're going to redirect people over that way because Bavs is a legend as well. So that'll be a really good stream. So make sure you go hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're ready for that one, people. Make sure you go follow Henry Wright. Is that your Twitter handle now? Henry Talks Football, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry Talks Football, people, on all socials. Make sure you do that. Make sure you go show some love to Henry as well. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. And, of course, the Lee Judges TV as well. And, Lee, I'll let you see us out with the last word, bro.
Whatever happens, it's Arsenal Spurs. South versus North London. We're South. Tottenham have got all the mouth. See you Sunday. Come on, you Gunners.